bom dia. Carl Monton here with the Good Morning Portugal live stream, YouTube and podcast. How are you today? Olá, bom dia, tudo bem? And of course, today I promised you we would be making a bit more of an effort to learn Portuguese, hence my subtitle there, Fala Português. And we'll be doing that in partnership with Practice Portuguese, the best resource I found so far. And if you want to find out more about Practice Portuguese while you're listening, go to the link that I've shared in the comments on. I don't know if you won't be able to click on that on the screen, but you'll be able to see that in the comments in the page where the live stream is taking place. Good morning to you. Who are you? Where are you? And how are you getting on with your learning of the Portuguese language and your immersion in Portuguese culture? It feels like this is hump day, isn't it? Or it would be in any sort of normal circumstance. Wednesday. We've had a busy week so far here on Good Morning Portugal. We, of course, started the week with Chris Paradox and 1 Trillion Trees. Yesterday, we were building immunity with Will Thompson. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking to Dr. Mick, and that will be looking at the collective trauma that COVID-19 coronavirus is bringing about. And of course, what we can do on an individual basis. He has helped people for years manage stress, trauma, and difficulties of a mental health nature. And it's Fungi Friday. Oh, lovely bird song. I don't know if you're picking that up from outside. Should open the window, shouldn't I? But not yet, because the weather's still not quite right for me yet. And we will be having a look at the weather, of course, in a moment as well. Found a nice new weather resource for you I think it's got a 10-day forward forecast. Of course, forecasts can only be forward, Carl. But anyway, we're looking at the weather, and of course, we will start with the facts and figures, and we'll go to Safe Communities Portugal. So yes, a bit of news, bit of weather, bit of Portuguese, and toothpaste. How could I forget? Have you got to the last little bit? I don't know if you play that game in your house of playing, like it's almost like a sort of toothpaste Jenga or something, isn't it? Where you just trying to get the last bit. And are you a sort of person who cuts the tube in half and then dips your toothbrush in there? We're in a situation where I want to make our own. I think making your own toothpaste is pretty good, isn't it? Certainly on saving on packaging, and you can be sure of what's in it. But it can be a messy business and a bit of an occult business as well, if you don't really know what to do. And if you've used sort of manufactured toothpaste all your life, it's quite a step. So with the help of the community at Pure Portugal, I put a question in there, who makes their own toothpaste? And quite a few people do. So we'll go to there towards the end of the live stream and see how people go about making their own toothpaste. A few good mornings. Good morning, Carl. We are here to learn our first Portuguese from you. Oh, God, that stakes are high. In sunny Lole, Claire and Steve. I noticed, not to be the harbinger of doom, but you do have some cases in Lole, so be careful there. Just, go a bit deeper into all the sort of precautionary measures you've been taking. But I did see that, and that may come up in the coverage that I'm about to share with you. Good morning from beautiful, peaceful Tavira. Good morning to you, Stephanie. How are you doing with your Portuguese? And it's called Toothpaste Roulette in Hannah's house. Last person has to find the next tube. Is that a bit like the toilet paper? If you've got any, of course. People are a bit ashamed to admit they've got toilet paper on the one hand, aren't they? Anyway, let's go and have a look at the facts and figures. Start all kind of official and numeric and objective, and then we'll become a lot more subjective and opinionated as the show rolls on. That tends to be how we do it here, isn't it? So there you go. Latest on the coronavirus outbreak, courtesy of safecommunitiesportugal.com. And we're looking at their report from yesterday, the 28th of April. This will be a decisive week as politicians decide, based on scientific advice, measures to be taken on the expiration of the second state of emergency extension at just before midnight on the 2nd of May. So the 3rd of May sees the end of the state of emergency, or the second state of emergency. It gets complicated, doesn't it? President of the Republic, Prime Minister, party representatives and social partners meet today in Lisbon, this was yesterday, to analyse the epidemiological situation of COVID-19 before the government announces the measures reopening of the country. Now, I've already seen more traffic, I'm sure, this morning, sat out having my tea and toast. I think this just a suggestion of reopening has got people reopening already. After more than 5 weeks of state of emergency in force since March the 19th, all those years ago, or so it feels in some ways. The Prime Minister, Antonio Costa, said on Monday that the sectors of the economy that will resume activity on May the 4th, my wedding anniversary, and in the following fortnight will only be defined on Thursday's Council of Ministers. So that'll be tomorrow. He also said that the decisions will be cautious, admitting that if things start to go wrong with the pandemic, steps back, in inverted commas, will be taken in the measures of mismatch. The government's intention, he said, is to set the timetable for what may open on the 4th and 18th of May and on the 1st of June. So those are the sort of stepping stones, it would appear. The 4th, 18th of May and the 1st of June, and at the end of May as well. At the end of May, return to make an assessment in relation to the set of other activities. Goodness gracious. Before the Council of Ministers, there will be this meeting. That was yesterday at Infomed, the National Authority on Medicines and Health Products, where specialists from the DGS, Directorate General for Health, will speak about the evolution of COVID-19 in the country. And as you expect and as you've become used to, Safe Communities Portugal go into some detail, and we will just touch in with the economy, I think, and tourism among all the subjects that they brilliantly report on. But yesterday, in terms of numbers, in the daily bulletin at 1200 hours yesterday, that was the 28th of April, the Secretary of State for Health stated that there were to date 928 deaths associated with COVID-19 and 24,027 confirmed cases of infection. In relation to the previous day, there were 25 more deaths. That's up 2.8%, and 163 more cases of infection. That's up by 0.7%. The increase of 163 confirmed cases is the lowest daily increase since the 19th of March. Curve flattening there before your very eyes. Of the infected people, 995 are hospitalized, of whom 176 are in intensive care units, and the number of recovered cases went from 1,329 to 1,357. The number of suspected cases to date stands at 237,571, an increase of 1,161 since the previous day, the lowest for some weeks. So the measures appear to be working. You see Safe Communities Portugal are talking about testing, protective equipment, hospitals, reinfection rates, the Portuguese Society of Cardiology, and their appeal for the widespread use of masks. Mixed opinion, depending on where you look in the world. The state of emergency, the economy. Let's have a quick look at this. The halt in the economy brought about by the pandemic and the additional effort required from the National Health Service has led, unsurprisingly, to a sharp fall in tax revenue and an acceleration of public expenditure, strongly shaking the results of Portuguese public finances during the month of March. Despite this, there was still a budgetary surplus during the first quarter, although in March itself, the result was already very negative, with a deficit of more than 1,000 million euros. That sounds like a lot of money. I can't even grasp that, but it sounds like a lot of money. The budget execution data for the first 3 months of this year, released this Monday by the Ministry of Finance, reveal that during the first 3 months of the year, which includes a few weeks since the arrival of the pandemic in Portugal, the balance in the accounts of the public administrations continued to be in surplus. Until February, the public accounts presented what finance classified as the biggest budget surplus ever, with a positive balance of 1,274 million euros. This record, with the pandemic of the new coronavirus reaching the country in force from the middle of last month, vanished entirely in March. Until the end of March, the surplus for the quarter was only 81 million, which means that in March there was a deficit of 1,193 million euros. Big numbers, as Donald Trump would say. But just a trend, I guess, is the somewhat scary thing there, isn't it, of how much money can vanish in a situation like this, or how much of a reserve can vanish. Because the money doesn't disappear, really, does it? It just goes elsewhere. It just moves from one coffer to another. So they continue their reporting on renewal of state of emergency, of justice, of education and tourism. The Secretary of State for Tourism, Rita Marques, stressed the importance of member states, the European Commission and other European Union institutions working together on an ambitious European recovery plan in a spirit of unwavering solidarity to mitigate the consequences of the COVID pandemic-19. At the meeting of ministers and state secretaries of tourism of the European Union by video conference obviously. The minister stressed that although governments are implementing their recovery plans for the tourism sector, it's clearly important that they do so in a coordinated manner with the help of the European Union. We have a collective responsibility to mobilise all the tools to respond to the needs of the sector, said the minister, who guaranteed that the European Union should reinforce its support in order to guarantee the new tourism, which must be more innovative, sustainable and cohesive in line with European Green Deal and digital agendas. That's interesting, isn't it? That the changes, what they're calling the new tourism, will intend to be more innovative, sustainable and cohesive and in line with the European Green Deal and the digital agendas. Digital holidays, maybe you won't actually travel, you just look at pictures over your computer via Zoom conference. Your tour guide will take you on a Zoom guide. That'll be fun. For the consolidation of the tourism sector as a world-leading industry, European responses will also have to cover indirectly related activities such as transport, real estate, media, culture, and the environment. Yes, tourism obviously is so important to Portugal. So there you go. There's some coverage from Safe Communities Portugal about what's going on. Let's have a look. We have a few folks who've said good morning. And I am taking Portuguese and using Memrise. Okay, you must tell us more about that, Stephanie. But don't practice, study enough, and don't have a native speaker to practice with. But I am grateful to the Portuguese people for indulging me as I try. Absolutely, the French are not nearly so forgiving. I have noticed this. I am also interested in making toothpaste. And I would be so impressed if you could say that in Portuguese. Thank you for that, Stephanie. We will do all of those this morning. We will start this morning and then we will continue. I am no expert at Portuguese, but together we will make this journey. I'm sounding like a politician now. Morning all. I hope you're all feeling well. From Mrs. M. You remember our wedding anniversary. May the 4th be with us. Absolutely. Happy anniversary, guys. Have a great day. No, it's not today. It's not today, but I'll take that in case I forget on the 4th. Yes, there you go. Oh, okay. We're up to speed. 4th of May. And Shannon, good morning from Texas. I hope you appreciated my Donald Trump impersonation. I'll dedicate that to you this morning. And yeah, great to hear from you, Shannon. Lovely to hear from you. And there's your lovely husband and grandchild in that picture there. Fabulous. And from Diane Mottershead, bom dia de Alhau. In Portuguese, very impressive. Do you have Mottershead relatives in UK? We'll have to take that up another time. We've got a very good friend in Devon by the name of Mottershead. Anyway, yes, bom dia, the Alhau, and tudo bem. That's it for now. I don't want to peak too soon. Okay, let me have a look at this weather. We haven't been doing enough weather, guys, have we? So let's have a look at this new weather map that I found for you. We do have the weather on the Good Morning Portugal website, goodmorningportugal.com, and there are localized forecasts there, which obviously quite useful depending on where you are, and you can find out what the few days ahead of us are going to look like weather-wise. But check this out. That's a grim old picture this morning, of course. I might have to sort of minimize that a little bit so we can get it all in the screen. Yeah, look, that is grey and grizzly and mizzly and cloudy, isn't it? But if I press this button here, we'll see how it's going to look for the next few days. This is the animation now before your very eyes. Look at this. Tomorrow, cloudy, bit of sun. And we're seeing more yellow. This is the Iberian Peninsula we're looking at, obviously, if you haven't made sense of it in your mind. But I'm seeing a lot more sun, folks. But then 2nd of May, oh, yeah, the 2nd of May is looking good with some sun, then a bit cloudy, then a bit sunny. Or is that the nighttime? I don't know. It's going too fast. But look, my anniversary is looking good. Some sunshine there. Obviously, spiritually as well as meteorologically. And there we go. All the way towards the 6th of May. I don't know, a very quick look at that, and I will find the best way to present the weather to you. But look at that. By the 8th of May, look at that sunshine. It's looking like spring is finally arriving with some suggestion of summer as well. Some really hot days across the whole of the country. So there you go. The weather disappears on the 11th of May. That was an interesting little exercise. But suffice to say, I think better weather is coming. Okay. And also, you look, we're finding out here that it must be like 3 o'clock in the morning over there in Texas. Yep. I am so honored that you would be joining us. And yeah, really good morning to you. Like serious good morning, silly o'clock over there in Texas. All right. So let's have a look at learning a bit of Portuguese now, shall we? It's really important, isn't it? And we know that. And a few of us are making the effort. I think it's really sort of polite on the one hand to have a go. And if you really want to make a sort of long-term success of being in Portugal, that's what you got to do, right? Is learn the language, and it's not just about the language, is it? It's that's your connection to the culture as well. It's very hard to truly get a sense of a country's culture without immersing yourself in the language. Good morning to you, Druba, as well. Where are you in Portugal at the moment? Do let us know. And how are you doing with your particular Portuguese adventure, as in your Portuguese language adventure? I have got into a partnership with Practice Portuguese. I'm going to show you under the hood of their of how they roll with their. I'm wondering if I should do this, or Mrs. M's unplugged my computer again, and the battery warning just came up. I don't know if you saw that. Oh gosh, sorry. Just plugging my battery back in. Yeah, I've got into a partnership with Practice Portuguese, Joel and Rui, and I'm going to show you under the bonnet of their system, which I really liked. Last night, instead of a bedtime story, we did some learning of the language as a family. And that was, the bedtime story was effectively the first bits, definitive articles. Our kids are good, aren't they? Tolerating learning about definitive articles at bedtime. So let me just take you for a tour of what you can expect if you become a student of the Practice Portuguese system. It's the one that I feel is most sort of suited to my learning style. And of course, that's what you have to do. You have to find the system that suits your learning style best. There are a lot of one-to-one teachers, aren't there, who are obviously at the moment working over Skype and Zoom and whatever, and teaching you like a proper teacher. This is an online system. As you can see there, the Practice Portuguese Learning Studio, really a couple of upbeat guys who run this. This is, sort of, for those who like a sort of technological thing like me, this is really, really a fun way of learning the language. And for the sake of transparency, yes, I am an affiliate of their system. I like their system, and yes, I like earning money selling their system. Just so you know, I'm proud to share it, and as long as I'm proud to share it and I'm getting some benefit, I will continue to share it, and I will continue to be an affiliate. But I will be talking to other people about their systems for learning Portuguese and teaching Portuguese as well. So it's not a complete monopoly or anything like that. I just need you to know that if you click on the link, I get a little bit of a fee for introducing you, and that's part of the business model of Good Morning Portugal. So just to make you aware of that. Since you're an active member, it's telling me you can access all the activities below. As you progress, the bubbles will fill in to help you keep track of your progress. Go through the lessons sequentially or jump around at your own pace. The choice is yours. And that's also good for the butterfly-minded like myself. Look at us. We've mastered the basics, and we've been doing this as a family. So we are getting very good value from this. Basics number one. And look, it starts with an introduction to European Portuguese, which I think is great, sets the scene. Then the definite articles. You learn the or the indefinite articles in Portuguese, a and an or some. The introduction to Portuguese verbs, and on it goes, and a bit of conjugation and so on. Look, and it gets more and more complex, but in steady, manageable chunks is our experience so far. Now, obviously, I don't want to give all their intellectual property away because that wouldn't be right. But let's, for starters, go to indefinite articles, and there we go. It's loading up. The indefinite articles, and this, I suppose the problem with this is it starts taking us back to the phrases like indefinite articles makes you feel like you're back in school, and in some ways you are, of course. And there you go, bit of an introduction, and then straight into it with the technicalities. And that's what we're going to have a look at this morning. We're going to look at the 4 indefinite articles. We just learned how to say with the definite articles, this is the previous module they're referring to. We just learned to say the car, but what if you want to talk about a car? And a car is an indefinite article rather than the car or the car, which is a definite article, because we're talking about an undefined car rather than a specific instance of a car. And it's all laid out on the page. There's a lot of spacing between the lines. It's nicely designed. I really like it. I've got to make sure as well that I've got the sound turned up for you on screen share, so that you can hear what's being said here. Let me just see if I've got that right. I'll just stop the share for a minute, and then we'll go back to sharing the screen, and I'll make sure. Oh yeah, share audio. Otherwise, you wouldn't have heard that. And then we'll go straight back in to the indefinite articles. You weren't expecting this morning, were you? To be so immersed. But what else can we do? We're going to be doing. I'm going to keep it as light and brief as possible each morning, with a little chunk of Portuguese for you, and this quick introduction here to the way of learning with practice Portuguese. So 4 indefinite articles: and uma, and then this is a lovely sounding word: uns, and umas. So there you go. A, if it is male, masculine, singular, would be and if my son said to me last night, press the tortoise. What does the tortoise do? A much slower pronunciation of the word. So and which, if someone walks into the room and I'm doing that and they're hearing that on your computer, they're going to wonder. They're going to wonder what on earth is going on. It's all right. We're just learning the Portuguese. And then uma, and then uma. Uns will be some in the masculine, and some in the feminine is umas. Or just to hear that a little bit more slowly. Umas. So there you go. Once again, the specific form used depends on the gender and number of the noun. Masculine singular would be like a car. A car is masculine, funnily enough. Although, yes, a lot of people refer to their cars as feminine, don't they? But as a noun in Portuguese, it is masculine. Carro. 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 I'm rolling my R's there. And then with the table, I won't go on too much longer. I don't want to overwhelm you, but I just want to show you how great this system is. Uma mesa. Or more slowly. Uma mesa. And then just finally, masculine plural. Uns carros. Now, if you weren't repeating after me at home, you must for this last one, okay? And if you are learning alone in a room and someone else can hear you in the house, you can explain later. Feminine plural. Some tables would be. Can you guess what this might be? Umas mesas. And that's where we get into the beautiful Portuguese sounds, isn't it? And how to go from a s to a sh sound. Umas mesas. And more slowly. Umas mesas. And it gives you more detail about the specifics, some of the irregularities. And there, look, a tricky trap for English speakers. For English speakers, it'll be tricky to get used to the fact that a mesa does not mean a table, but the table. Isn't that nice how they're telling you? Give you some more examples. And the really great thing about this is as you continue on a manageable modular basis. Oh, look, and there are comments from other students, which is really nice as well. But it also gives you kind of a little bit of a game to play. And I am really enjoying that. Sat with my son last night, and we filled in, the sort of watch and learn, complete the following kind of exercises, and really enjoyed that. So there you go, practiceportuguese.com if you want to find out more, if you want to sign up and just bite the bullet and crack on with it. That's what you do. That will be my guide, and that's what I'll be sharing with you over these coming weeks and months as we learn Portuguese together. Some more good mornings. Daruba is in Sintra, raining outside, and learning is slow, but getting by okay. Well done. Keep going. That's how we have to roll with this, isn't it? Just steady, slow and steady progress. And the older you get, the slower and steadier you seem to get as well when it comes to learning. Just was first year being this year. Oh, okay. So you're enjoying your first year in Portugal. Do keep in touch. Let us know how your adventure is going. That's what this is all about, is us supporting each other on our respective adventures in Portugal. Good morning from Devon. A couple of friends from Devon. Good morning from Mansell. Good morning to you, Mansell. Lovely to hear from you. And from Rowan as well in Devon. Wonder what the limit of their Portuguese is. So onward then, toothpaste. We are going to have a look at making your own toothpaste now on the Good Morning Portugal live stream. Anyone doing this already? I know, was it you, Stephanie, who was interested in learning? Yes, Stephanie wants to learn about making your own toothpaste. Let's go now then to the Pure Portugal group. I won't be too long with this because I see it's already 9:30. It's unbelievable, isn't it? How time flies. Certainly when I'm having fun, I hope you are too. And I posted this in the Pure Portugal group. Let me just make that a bit bigger for you so you can see what's going on. And I said, wanted toothpaste recipes to share. Anyone resorted to making their own toothpaste yet? Care to share your recipe? Let's scroll through a few of these. Baking soda appears to be one of the basic components. Charcoal and coconut oil, messy but works well. Can you imagine what your sink would look like with a cocktail of charcoal and coconut oil? That's the other thing. Toothpaste comes in neat tubes, doesn't it? When you start making your own and using your own, you've got to come up with a neat packaging and storage solution. And baking soda, coconut oil, and turmeric's coming up there. I know Gary in our gang here is a turmeric fan, and we're hoping to grow that as well here in the Casa Munson garden. White clay, coconut oil, a little bit of baking soda. Don't use too much as it can damage your teeth. I guess that's the abrasive element then. And 1 drop of essential oil, tea tree, rosemary, sage, or mint. Don't use mint if you take some homeopathy. Some great advice here. I like the tea tree for antibacterial, says Virginie there. Baking soda, salt, and charcoal powder, equal parts. Add some mint essence if you need flavor, but soon get used to nothing. Yes, as more and more as we get into our kind of horsehair shirt vibes here as homesteaders, we won't need all those luxuries of taste and flavor. And coconut oil with baking soda, aloe vera coming in there, and a bit of sea salt. Coconut oil, bicarb, and peppermint oil, essential oil. And I used to do this. In the long run, my teeth became super brittle. I do not recommend. So what is that they're referring to there? Okay, so be careful. Do your research. My son tells his 5-year-old son, who is now at a tooth losing stage, that when the tooth fairy comes, she takes the lost tooth, grinds it down, and then turns it into toothpaste. That's a good theory. That is a proper 5-year-old theory. I never did it, but I thought about using horsetail, not the actual horsetail, folks. No animals are harmed in the making of this toothpaste. Horsetail, the herb, I'm guessing, with something else because of the high silica content in horsetail. Very good. Coconut oil, bicarb there, sea salt, peppermint, and tea tree oil. Works a treat. Not needed a hygienist at the dentist, says Sarah. I just mixed a bit of something creamy in texture, usually coconut oil, but can be olive oil, which we produce ourselves. Nice one. Which with something slightly abrasive. So you need the bicarb or the soda or the salt to mix in with your oil. Then I add to it on a whim, a whimsical approach here to toothpaste. Any combination of turmeric powder, neem oil. Neem's a good addition, I think. Clove oil, peppermint oil. I feel that what I need is a bit of gentle abrasion, don't we all sometimes? Some pathogen elimination and pleasant sensation. That is like a fantastic formula that I could almost turn into a reggae song. Gentle abrasion with pathogen elimination and pleasant sensation for the nation. What it boils down to for me, I think, is getting food particles off my teeth. Yes, let's get down to the basic nitty-gritty here and get those food particles out of the way. Even just a brush and a floss does the trick. The toothpaste is just a small bonus. Very good. Yeah, dental hygiene, I think, is about the bits, isn't it? As much as the ritual of lathering up your teeth at the beginning and the end of the day, and sometimes in between. Ayurvedic tooth cleansing as follows. Any shrub or tree with thorns. What? A 6-inch long piece, chew the end a bit to make it like a brush. And well, yes, okay. Is it the neem tree? I remember, I think, or licorice you can do it with as well. Licorice sticks, can't you? If you chew a stick, it becomes like a flossy sort of end to it, and you can use it like a brush. It's true. I found that gin or cref works rather well just before bed. Yes, Neil. We know about you, Neil. Just use baking soda. Baking soda again, non-trace aluminium kind. That's a good mention. The peppermint oil as well there, and a little coconut oil in the base. Liquid dragon's blood resin is amazing. Again, just like horsetail, I don't think it's real horses. I don't think this is real dragons. And I did ask Callie Spirals, is it for real? Yes, absolutely. So look out for liquid dragon's blood resin, which is amazing. Just 1 drop, foams like normal toothpaste and really healing for gums. I didn't like the feeling of brushing, says Naomi, with coconut oil. Too greasy for me. I made one with bicarb, peppermint oil, stevia drops, and bentonite clay. Bentonite clay, I guess, being the abrasive there. Like the most, baking soda, coconut oil, peppermint, we add some stevia. So that's the really popular combo, isn't it? The baking soda, coconut oil, and an essential oil of some kind, usually peppermint here. Essential oil, baking soda, optional here, but mostly I do oil pulling. Now, there's a thing, oil pulling, where you sluice with some local olive oil, ideally. Isn't that great? I put a drop of tea tree essential oil on a toothbrush, 3 drops of calendula tincture, which is marigold, of course, and a quarter teaspoon of coconut oil. No foaming agents and no plastic tubes. That's the really important thing here, isn't it? Get rid of the plastic. Is a real sort of great byproduct of here. I found using bicarb every day, says Pinny, eventually resulted in a huge kind of blister on the soft part of my upper palate. Now I use chalk instead, calcium carbonate, not kids chalk. I guess it's the same, but yeah, shop and choose wisely. And a final word from Julie: when you're using essential oils, please be mindful that 1 drop has millions of molecules that enter the bloodstream, and always ensure good dilution. Excellent. That's wonderful. All of that help there about toothpaste. Let's see what you're saying in our comments here. It's just amazing how resourceful I've become over the past weeks. We need more shared ideas like the homemade toothpaste and more. Yeah, I think I'm going to make a video of us making one here that we'll put in in our YouTube collection. I think it's a great idea, Gary. Yeah, and I haven't forgotten. We need to be looking at whether how we save water. Water retention on our homesteading plots, about whether burning timber is the right way forward sustainably. There were a few things that came up over the last few days that we need a deeper dive into. Louisa says, thanks everyone, we'll put clay in ours. I've always made it with coconut oil, sea salt, bicarb and peppermint oil, and turmeric as well, which it makes you look like a smoker if you get it on your fingers, of course. God knows what it will do to my already yellow teeth. Our great dentist in Luli, best dentist ever, advises oil pulling with local olive oil. We obviously need to do a little mini guide to oil pulling as well. Maybe we can show the grisly before and after results of that. Thank you all so much for bearing with me for so long on the stream this morning, if you're still here, that is. And we'll be back again tomorrow with Dr. Mick on the phone, talking about the effects of the collective trauma we're going through, which I don't think should be underestimated. This is quite a shock that we're all going through, and also, of course, how we're going to manage that on an individual basis. Your questions about mental health at this time of lockdown, most welcome. And of course, Fungi Friday on Friday, when the Shimajito crew will be with us, or some of them, to talk about localized agri-tech, urban farming, and of course, the growing of mushrooms. Louisa, can you share the dentist's name? Also would love a video of this too. Yeah, we will do a video. The video of this will be in YouTube. It always is every day. But we will make some toothpaste together, maybe this weekend, and make that video for you. So anything you want to add into that video, or if you want to co-produce something or send me some pictures, I'll gladly include them. Take care. Bye for now. And of course, back to the Portuguese. Te logo. Fica bem. Take care. Be well. And we'll see you in the morning. Have a great day, folks.